Hey guys, this is Storm and welcome to episode 191 of our single player Tiveden world. Just got it. So many of you know by now my Minecraft world here was originally created in Minecraft 1.3, which was over a decade ago. So yes, with that comes a bit of maintenance. If you're going to play with an old world, don't expect things to work perfectly and new features and game changes to work seamlessly. For example, like our seagrass here growing inside our river systems and swamps. That wasn't a thing back in the day, so the only way you're going to get that is if you go around with bone meal and plant it yourself. And that's what I've been doing, and other things like that in our world, just to try and keep it looking somewhat more modern and more up to date than the world really is. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. For example, this jungle here, it never had bamboo or melons when it got created, but they are pretty common in the jungles that you find these days. So I've gone around and planted them or put them down myself amongst this jungle, and it just helps to create that illusion that this is something that's far more modern than what it really is. But there are some perks of having an old world. For example, there can be old bugs that can creep into the game, or new bugs that creep into the game, just for the fact that you've got an old world. And one bug that I have in my world is where some villagers won't lock their trades. And I know this is common in some other worlds that people have shown, but in my world I've only found a couple of villagers that have this behavior. And this villager that we have down here, you can trade as much as you want with him and he'll never lock his trade. It's just something that's like infinite emeralds basically. And I should probably take advantage of this more often than I really do. It's a good way to get XP and repair tools, but also get the emeralds. And I do wonder if there are other bugs or features that perhaps have changed over the years that I might be able to take advantage of, given the fact that my world is so old. So if there's anything else you can think of that perhaps could be useful to me, let me know in the comments. I'll be curious to know what you can think of. You know, speaking of maintenance, I have no idea how these villagers are escaping this little town here. And how are they still alive? I mean, I don't know how the zombies and husks haven't, done what they do with these guys. But yeah, these guys are all escaping. I don't see a hole in the fence. So yeah, a bit of a mystery. Alright, I think I'm going to have to boat these guys in, I think. Except for you. Go on, buddy. There you go. So with the villagers taken care of for the time being, I think we'll go and do a bit of exploration. We are trying to find ourselves some frogs, and for that I need to find a swamp or a mango swamp, and it needs to be new generation. It can't be over here because yeah, this is old generation. So I've got my slime balls and I need to do some breeding, get some tadpoles, then hopefully get the different variants of the frogs. Well, a lonely frog. Really? Just the one frog? I think you're it, buddy. Anyone else here for you? I'm not sure. I'll come back for you. Let me look around. Well, I've searched everywhere and this is the only frog in this tiny little swamp here. Not surprised that there aren't any other frogs really, given the size of it. Let's go up and take a look. You can see it's just this little area here, so pretty tiny, and it looks like it's on the border of the old and new terrain here. So yeah, off to find another swamp. You know, we haven't found our swamp yet for our frog friends, but we have come across this village, and I don't know who the architect is here, but this doesn't look safe to me. You might want to rethink this town planning design, guys. Well, luck would have it, we found this mangrove swamp in the middle of nowhere, but it only has one frog. I've gone throughout this entire mangrove swamp, and this is the lonely little guy that we found. So yeah, it's a long way back to try and breed this with the other one that we found. So let's keep on searching, and hopefully we'll have better luck. Finally, we have ourselves some frog friends, so it's time to do your business, guys. Finally! For a moment there I thought you had forgotten what you needed to do. So all I really need to do now is wait for these tadpoles to hatch, and then we'll have tadpoles in buckets, and from that we can create as many frogs as we want. Well, that took a lot of effort, but we finally have frogs on the main island. Place your bets. How long until do you think the leads break off this fence post here? The frogs are pretty strong, but I think a game update in the future will probably be the first thing to victimize the lead, but who knows, maybe these frogs will like hanging around in this area for the time being. Alright, so while we're out trying to find the first frogs to start the breeding operation, you notice I collected some of the mangrove swamp blocks. So we've got some mud, the mangrove leaves, the propagules, and funnily enough, just before we left on that adventure, we came across a wandering trader that was trading the propagule. So in the end, we didn't really have to travel too far to get the new mangrove, which would then give us a whole lot of these blocks. So that didn't really matter. I didn't mind going on that adventure. And even with mud isn't something you have to collect out in that biome, although it's easier to get it, I guess, in large quantities from a biome like that. But you can easily create it yourself just with some water bottles. So here we go. We're going to grab some water, and we've got some coarse dirt, regular dirt, and the rooted dirt. And when you just put some water on them, you create yourself some mud. So we can probably use this. I am keen to experiment with some building with mud, and you can create the mud bricks when you mix in, what is it? Wheat. Yes, wheat. You mix that into the crafting recipe, you can create yourself some mud bricks, and then there's variants of those as well. So maybe we should try and build something with those new blocks. So let's take a look at some block combinations here and see what could look good next to each other. Oh, how you going, buddy? What do you got on offer for me? Yeah, one of these days you'll become useful. All right, everyone, look the other way. All right, with that taken care of, let's get back to these blocks. So with the packed mud, mud bricks, mud, and this is mangrove. We've got the roots here, mangrove roots, some spruce blocks, sandstone, and then some of the leaves. You know, I think this is something you could work into perhaps a desert build. Let's just quickly create something here. Now, how could we use this? I think using the mud as a main building block for a house could be quite challenging. And I'm just going to quickly mock something up here. So this was kind of like the edge or the front of the house. This could be like a veranda kind of area, or a bit of an overhang off to the side. What if we were to mix in some of these blocks? Now, of course I didn't grab any, so let's do that. We've got some hiding over here. And we could have some off to the side. So if we do a little bit more, in fact, let's grab some of these along here. I'm keen to know, what does it look like when you start to build off to a side, and maybe have, would you have that mixed? Maybe you could mix it up like this. So not have a solid bit of wall, but have varying blocks. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then if this was like a side section of this house, we could have maybe a part of the wall here made out of the mud as well. And then maybe poking in some windows could make this look good. What if I went ahead and built these out? So this is kind of like the border now for, I presume this will be a house or some kind of building. And we'll just see what the shape looks like when we've got these blocks on a little bit more larger scale. At the moment we only got it on one wall, and I think that does look good when you got the mud next to the smooth sandstone. But what if we were to make it much larger and actually maybe even raise this up even higher? Does that still look good, or should you use it in smaller quantities? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, I think it definitely needs some finessing, but we do have something here. We have our tower of packed mud and the mud bricks with the sandstone. I think it'll look better once we start to build out the front of the house. But let's try and do something on the side here, make it look a little bit nicer. What if we went up a bit higher and, whoops, not that block. Let's build with this one, the cut version. Just go across here somewhere. And this could be, yeah, like, as I think I said, like a veranda or something, right? So this will go across to here. Maybe that's the height of the house. And then this will cruise on down this way. And then probably come down on the edge. Oops, I'm out of blocks. There we go. So it'll be something like that. Now, I do have some jungle, because I was curious to know how would jungle go with this, because it's all in the same similar palette, right? Or color scheme. What if we were to mix in some jungle? Look how close that is to the mud. That's actually very similar. That's interesting. Now we know spruce slabs going against the mud bricks here are going to look good. But you know what? If you're really brave, you might be able to get away using mangrove. I'm probably not that brave. It's slightly not matching. You know, I take that back. I don't think it does look good, but I'm sure someone will make it work. And if we take inspiration from the real desert villages that we have in the game now, if we put in some terracotta, I'm sure that's going to blend in nicely with the different blocks. Because if we do something like that, okay, that doesn't look good like that, but having it against the sandstone will look good. So even on for a flooring, I think will look good in here. So if we were to replace some of the sand here and try out some of the terracotta, yeah, look at that, looks good. You know, with the mud walls and the terracotta floor, that does look good for an interior, so we could be onto a winner there. And then for these window sills, I was just trying out using the mud stairs here versus the jungle stairs. I probably do like the jungle stairs better. Slight variation of the color and just the texture just makes it stand out a little bit nicer, I think. Then for framing on top, we'll probably still go with the jungle trapdoors. I think that is a winner, because if we go with the, where's my spruce slabs? See if we can reach up here. Can I reach it? No. Okay, fine. Let's do this. I think this will look too dark. You know, it's not bad, but I think I like this better. And if we want to bring in the look of the mud to the front of the build, we could just use some jungle trapdoors here on top of the windows. And then I've also filled in the side here of the rend. I've also made it a little bit shorter. It was a little bit long before. It came all the way down to here, which means this isn't all lined up. So either we make this part of the wall wider, or we just compress the left hand and the right hand of this build together to make it look good. But yeah, I think with these kind of two-tone look, it does look good. And then to bring in some accents, you really only got to throw in a few of these leaves somewhere, maybe up here. If we had this like a deck, like a sun deck or something, that could really make this build pop. Now I've just raised the roof of the front of the house here, and you can see with the taller windows, I think that looks a lot better, particularly with the taller background. And you can see we've gone for the smooth sandstone on this side of the wall. So yeah, having these kind of themed areas around the bricks with the sandstone is probably a nice look for a build like this. And admittedly, I'm probably taking this a bit too far. This was only supposed to be a bit of a mock-up to try different blocks here, but you know, we'll keep going for the time being. And then I mentioned, yeah, incorporating some of the leaves now to get the green into a build like this. So I was thinking of having like a sun deck kind of area. So this is where you'd have some elevated pillars, and we'll just use the jungle. Is that it? That's all I've got on me. All right, cool. That's all it's going to have to be for now. And then we'll just go with some campfires up the top here. So you just do a few different combinations like that, and obviously we'll put out the fire. And then to bring in the green, all we need to do is put down some leaves. Here we've got the azalea leaves because it holds the color. We'll have this snaking up the build, and this is where you got to start poking some holes. So this is where maybe some leaves would go there. You probably don't even have to do that many. Just there and there perhaps. Just got to put a few leaves down, not too many. So it looks like it's still a continuous growth. Not even too close to the building. And that's really just about it. Then it's just final touches to make it all look good. I might throw a little bit more time into this and see what we can come up with. I mean, this really is a larger build than I usually create for a house in a village or something like that, but I don't know, it could grow on me. Well, it is a bit of a rush job, but we do have a lot of the exterior work now done, including this side section of the building that I have modified a little bit in the design. I've made it a bit wider, and I chose to leave it rather exposed. It's not a traditional kind of side section that I'd typically build where it's fully enclosed, and I've done this so this can represent like a work area where a villager's coming in and out and doing their day-to-day job. So with the tree in place, that does kind of wrap up this little corner of this building. And you can see the footprint, it is quite big, and I've intentionally left this kind of like a work area. I feel like this is an area where a villager would also come out and do some building. It's kind of like copper where they're laying out the blocks to let it weather. Here we're letting it harden. So that's, yeah, I don't know, just adds like a functional aesthetic to the building itself. Now, I haven't done the interior other than what's just on here. There's nothing really inside this main section. So you'll have to let me know, is this something that I should continue and perhaps make a few other themed houses? And then what do we do with it if we do that? What do we do with this village over here? Does it replace, like, do we tear this down and replace it with a new village? If we, where's my rockets? There we go. If we just fly away and take a look at the area from a distance, you can see it's much larger in build in the footprint than any of these buildings down in here. But that might be a good thing. It might be time to refresh this tiny little desert village that we've had in our world for a long time and make something a little bit more modern. Now, before this episode gets too long, there are a few things still left to do from the world update. We still haven't found ourselves an LA. They're out there somewhere, but we haven't found one just yet. And I have found a lush cave. That wasn't that exciting. It's actually where those frogs were breeding. That's just dug down in one of the caves there and came across a miniature lush cave, and we got a couple of the new blocks there. Now, we haven't dug down to find what's beneath our main island here. Are we sitting on top of an ancient city? Ooh, that would be interesting. Probably not, but you never know. So let's go down. I don't know what's beneath us below Y level 0. So where's a logical spot to dig down? I guess one spot we could dig down is, we do have a big dig over here. If you don't know, this is where we've been digging up a massive skeleton. So let's go down here and perhaps find a spot to dig a bit lower. Here's good enough. Let's see what's down here. Okay, we need to go lower. Well, that was embarrassing. I didn't bring any night vision with us, so I went and grabbed a couple of those. Let's continue the dig down. What are the odds? Oops. You know, I had no idea that a creeper could take out a mob spawner like that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Well, that is a big open cave, it looks like. So let's take a peek. So it looks like we have a big cave underneath our base. You know, this may not be the lush cave or an ancient city down here, but this is a pretty decent cave. I actually don't mind it. And it definitely looks better when you don't have night vision. I mean, it always would, but you got to light up a lot of these areas. Otherwise, it is a mob trap. So now that we know our island isn't cursed by an ancient city beneath Y level 0, we'll wrap up the episode here and then we'll continue things right into the next episode very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of the episode and any ideas that you might have or things you want to see. And I'll see you again very soon in the next one. See you guys. Cheers.